Hello! We have two stories today, and both come from the same author who put out two tales on entitled parents and entitled people. They're from his adventures in babysitting over one weekend. The first story was so popular that the denizens of Reddit demanded more, and OP did deliver. Our first story starts with a man bending over backward to help a friend. For free, only to then be asked, "More!" as this friend goes for gold in the Entitlement Olympics and demands his furry friend as well. Story 1. Well, I think it's fairly safe to assume I've lost a couple friends over this, but it wasn't me what did it. This weekend, a friend of mine asked me to keep an eye on her two kids while she and her hubby went away for the weekend for some couple time. Her mother was initially going to watch the kids but fell through on short notice. She called me at 3 p.m. on Friday to come over in 3 hours. And my friend knew I probably wasn't doing anything, which was both hurtful and accurate. I said sure. She's got two kids, a girl who is 8 and a boy who is 5. They're good kids for the most part. The boy has a little bit of a snitching problem and the girl has a sharing problem, but it's 2 days. So I show up Friday after work while my friend gives me the rundown, and her husband tells the kids he will beat them with their sibling if they're bad. The kids were unimpressed. The parents leave and it's just me and the kids in the house, and it's immediate pandemonium. The brother snitches on his sister for taking an extra cookie, and then the sister cries to me that her brother touched her Switch. So I make the executive decision that they've got too much energy, and if they're tuckered out, they'll hopefully chill. So I asked the kids to track down bathing suits because we're going to my gym, which has a pool and a guest policy. I did let Mom know what we were up to before we left and asked if it was okay if I brought my dog over. He doesn't shed and is house trained. She said that was fine. Operation Pool was a great success, though the locker room got a bit dicey. That's a whole other story, which is coming up next. Once everyone was appropriately tired, including me, we made a pit stop on the way back to their house to grab my pooch. He's extremely well behaved and loves kids, and both kids were immediately all about the Dexter, and the Dexter was all about the kids. Ground rules. No pulling on his fur, and he goes where he wants. Kids kind of struggle with the notion that a dog is not a toy. I obviously kept him out of places where he wasn't supposed to go, but I'm a grown-up, allegedly. Miraculously, after the swim and chasing the dog around the house left the kids too pooped to pop, and both fell asleep watching a Disney film on the TV. After the movie, I woke the kids up to trot off to bed and didn't make them brush their teeth. For the record, the son did indeed yeet me under a bus when Mommy called in the morning. I told the kiddos that if they left their doors open, Dexter might sneak in and give them cuddles. I increased the likelihood of this by sleeping on the couch and not leaving him a spot. He expressed his displeasure with me by flouncing off and going into the boys' room to sleep. Great success. Saturday, we went for a hike in the morning, had a nap, and then played ball with the dog, and generally had a pretty chill day. Diffused the sharing issue by explaining to the girl that the pup has feelings and wants, just like any person, and she can't control him that way. She appeared thoughtful, and then immediately started yelling at her brother for hogging the dog again. At least she wasn't mad at the dog. I successfully heated up the casserole Mom had left me for dinner following her carefully laid out instructions, then admonished the kids to not give him people food and was soundly ignored. I did draw the line at a couple morsels from each kid and put my foot down. More than that, and he's going to get the runs, and nobody wants that. That night, I made sure Sis got a turn by again hogging the couch and also closing the boy's door since he got a turn already. The girl was smug. The boy made me call his mom. Mom wasn't happy that my dog was in her kids' beds. I reminded her that he doesn't shed and can't smell worse than the kids, and her daughter might burn the house down with us inside if she doesn't get a turn. Mom accepted defeat. Saturday night was again relatively peaceful, though toothbrushing did happen. Early Sunday morning, I got woken up by having my dog step on my testicles. Ooh, doodle. Which is a thing he's really good at, and he was mad at me for not leaving any room. I made room. Apparently, the girl tried to do something he didn't like, and he noped out of there. She wasn't happy about that, but was appeased by my pain enough to go back to bed. This morning was relatively chill. some more playing with the dog, and some team tug-of-war. Mom and Dad got back around lunchtime and thanked me for keeping their kids in one piece. The kids said bye to the pup, and there were tears, and I loaded up myself and my dog and went back home to enjoy the relative peace and quiet. Yeah, I wish it ended there. Maybe an hour after we got home, I get a phone call from a very frazzled-sounding mom with kids crying in the background. She says they need my dog now. I'm sorry, what? You don't need a dog, you need my dog? Like, I don't need to come back and visit soon? You just want him. Well, the kids got so attached and they won't stop crying about missing the dog. She added that her and her husband don't have time for 2 kids and a puppy and more guilt-inducing word vomit that was having precisely 0 effect on me. Abso-fluffing-lutely not. Click. Still getting texts about being reasonable and you have time to train a new dog. 48 hours of free babysitting isn't enough? You want my dog too? Not in this lifetime. Let's take a look at the dog tags. Oh, Floofer McFlufferton is wearing a Christmas sweater. What a cutie. Oh, I want him. I need him. Update clarification. The parents offered to pay me for my time over the weekend. However, the rate for 2 full days of childcare was kind of a lot, and they don't have a lot of disposable income. It was an emergency, and I had nothing better to do with my time. Told them not to sweat it. My pup is chipped and is still sleeping off his big weekend, but he's going nowhere solo, and I do have cameras up. I also texted my friend's husband asking him what flipping happened and why does his wife want my dog this morning? He replied back with a lot of question marks, genuinely hoping sanity breaks out and we can move past this. But ain't nobody is pup-napping my dog. In the comments, Little Owl said, "Be reasonable? What part of her argument seems reasonable? You are much more patient than me. I would have tore her a new one." OP replied, "I don't like getting that mad if I can possibly avoid it. Yeah, sure, I'd vent my displeasure, but when I get mad, I stay mad for a while. Easier to just roll my eyes and let it go. She's not being rational, and I'm hoping she realizes that sooner rather than later. Hating someone is exhausting." Chronic Anxiety 24/7 said, "I really don't understand some people. On the plus side, adorable dog tags." OP replied, "That's the sweater of shame. When he's being extra annoying, I put it on him. Works like a charm. Suddenly, he's so focused on getting out of the accursed garment that he doesn't bother me anymore and just rubs on furniture. Comes off after a half hour or so." Oh, and didn't we see it in his poor eyes? Little Dexter in his Christmas sweater. Middle-aged Gamer said, "I've never understood people who just see pets as tradable property. Also, those guys are definitely going to try to steal your dog at some point." OP replied, "Security systems in place. He's chipped and the dog also functions as a proximity alarm. If he's outside by himself, I know when people pull up because he goes mental and he's never off on his own. They don't have keys to my place and I work from home, so it'd be hard to pull off a pup napping." Takeaways from the story: Dexter is the cutest thing ever. I don't know if OP was downplaying what he did, but honestly, how is his friend not calling the next day to profusely thank him for hanging out with these kids for the whole weekend? I've seen on the Facebook that in my neighborhood, babysitting rates are almost $20 an hour, and over a weekend, can you imagine? Talk about mucho money. But no, OP's friend is calling to talk more about what she needs out of the situation. If only you could see my side eyes right now. But oh wait, there's more. Our second story already got a short intro from the OP himself in the first story, so we'll jump right back in since it's a piece of the same tale. But let's just say that Operation Pool for OP and his 2 charges may have been mission accomplished, but it didn't all go according to plan. OP unfortunately discovers a hidden talent for attracting peak entitlement wherever he goes. Story 2. To recap, I was placed in possession of a pair of kids, 8-year-old female and 5-year-old male, on turbo short notice over the weekend. On Friday, as soon as the parents left, pandemonium reigned, and I knew I needed to get the energy out of the kids or I'd be dead by Sunday. So I had them collect bathing suits and we all went to my gym, which has a guest policy and a pool. Got the kids signed in as my guests for the evening and asked, a bit uncomfortably, what the correct thing to do would be, given I was in charge of a boy and a girl. The girl at the front desk laughed a little at me and said that the family locker rooms were down the same hallway as the women's locker rooms. It felt very, very odd walking down the forbidden hallway. But true to her word, there were two big doors. One that said families and one that said women. The boy kid really wanted to wander into the women's locker room, which got vetoed almost immediately. We get in there, and there's stalls inside for changing. Basically, a closet with a changing room door on it. Me, being hyper aware that anything going even slightly wrong in relation to someone else's naked child is a very, very bad place for misunderstandings, decided that we'd take turns. The girl would go first, get out of her clothes, change into her suit, and then come hang with me, while her brother did the same. And then, when it was my turn, I best be seeing two pairs of ankles under the door the whole time, or someone's getting left in the locker room hung by their bathing suit. Happily enough, nothing went wrong. On our end, anyway. Unfortunately, while the girl was changing, a mom and her son came into the family locker room and looked confused. "Why are you and your son just standing there?" she asked. "Oh, I'm just watching the kids and his sister is changing. They're not my children. Figured this was the safest for everyone," says I, thinking, oh gosh no, please, it's Friday. She rears back in shock, raises her voice. "They're not your children?" "Nope, I just borrowed them so their mom could get some alone time with dad." At this point, the little dude is hiding behind me and the clothing rustling from the little girl has stopped. "Ma'am, I'm just trying to get them changed and into the pool. I can't take a little girl into the men's locker room," says I, thinking I'm not precisely comfortable in there. I can't imagine it would go well with a little girl. This is a family locker room for families, not for babysitters. And who thought you were mature enough to watch two kids on their own? "I'm getting you removed," says she, and then yanks her child out behind her to go yell at someone at the front desk. The boy tugged on my pants and looked up at me. "I think that lady is crazy." I looked down at the little dude and nodded, but made a shush sound and told the girl to get changed pronto. The woman didn't come back in, and the kids didn't wander off while I was getting changed. We had a great time in the pool, and I didn't see the kid or his mom while we were in the pool or after. Don't know what happened. There was a different desk attendant when we left. In the comments, Do Method said, "Damn, that lady's crazy." Edit. Props to little dude. OP replied, "He's a bright kid. If only he'd realized snitches got stitches." Lazy Tennis said, "She was right. You should go to the friend who helped friends for a weekend locker room." Mitwad said, "My man, I don't know what it is with you and poolside places." This is the, to my own knowledge, second or third post I've read by you that included an unreasonable parent by the pool. OP replied, "In my defense, the first one was at a hotel pool. For the other two, I go to a bougie gym. The entitlement there is palpable, and I swim a lot. Most of the strangers I meet are there. These people just find me." Haha. Bougie gym was obvious with the mention of a guest policy. The gyms and rec centers I've frequented have something we plebs call a drop-in fee. Joking aside, I think part of OP's problem is that he doesn't realize less is more. He really should have just stopped at "we're waiting for someone." He goes above and beyond, in this case by providing more info, and before when he set it up so Dexter would go into the rooms of the kids. I mean, really, he just needs to put less effort in overall. And that's it for today. Until next time, shine bright, Starlight. If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.